Zambia Blog Talk Radio.
Ready to take your nursing career to the next level? At Global Nurse Pathways, we're here to make your dream of working in the U.S. healthcare system a reality. From expert NCLEX exam preparations to personalized consulting and relocation support, led by the incredible Dr. Alice Nalondo, who holds a Doctor of Nursing Practice and is certified as a family nurse practitioner and a psychiatric mental health nurse practitioner. Our team delivers top-notch training to help you answer the NCLEX exam. Once you pass your NCLEX exam, we will connect you with the US-based recruiting agencies, setting you on the path to an amazing career in healthcare. Ready to get started? We're just a call or a message away. Call or WhatsApp us now at +1 346 328 1110 for the US or +260 961 875 081 for Zambia or email info@embbehavioral.com. Let's make your dreams come true together. Global Nurse Pathways, transforming careers, changing lives.
Hi everyone, welcome to the show. Believe it or not, it's March 1st. Time is really flying. Hope you are having a wonderful weekend. Good evening, good afternoon from wherever you're watching us. Tell a friend, ZBTR TV is live. We have an amazing and interesting conversation for you today. Tell a friend we are live and subscribe to our YouTube channel, ZBTR TV, and we're also on Facebook, Zambia Blog Talk Radio TV. You can find us on X as well, so hope you're having a great weekend. All right, today we're talking about Zambia's tourism. Tourism is a major industry and money spinner in some of the countries. When I was preparing for this, I just decided to look at a few figures. Tanzania earned $3.5 billion from its tourism industry, Kenya 2.7, and the Republic of South Africa 13.2. So we're talking about big figures. My guest today is a gentleman who has some experience and is going to be able to discuss with us some of these things. Joining us is Mr. Cosmas Chileshe. Is a seasoned communications media tourism and diplomacy expert spanning a career over 20 years. Those of us in the diaspora, especially in the US, who remember Mr. Chileshe served as first secretary press and public relations at the Zambia's embassy in Washington, D.C. With extensive experience in media and broadcasting. He held the role of news editor at ZNBC and currently lectures in media diplomacy studies at the Zambia Institute of Diplomacy and International Studies. Mr. Chileshe is served also as Tourism Development Research Officer at the Ministry of Tourism, contributing to policy formulation and investment promotion and research. He holds a Bachelor of Arts in Public Administration, a diploma in journalism and public relations, a certificate in diplomacy and video filming and editor. Mr. Cosmas Chileshe is our guest today and is not a stranger to the diaspora community. Welcome, my brother. It's been a long time.
It's been a long time, and good to connect to colleagues out there in the US.
Yes.
I don't know what time it is, but I know it's quite early this morning.
It's quite
So
early. Others are just waking up and walking into the kitchen to get their their coffee. You just came back from Nchwala ceremony, right? The past weekend.
Correct, yes.
Before let's begin by describe for us what happened there.
Well,
What is Nchwala ceremony first? First one.
Nchwala ceremony, it's a traditional ceremony of the Ngonis. It's been taking place for some time now. The Ngonis, they meet to commemorate a good harvest for the farm produce, but much more, it is something that brings the historical background to how Zambia has united under one Zambia, one nation motto. You may wish to know that we have over 72 tribes or 73. Yes. And the history of the Ngoni emanates from the time that they were running away from the wars of Shaka Zulu, and all the way from South Africa, they came into Zambia through eastern part of our country. And it's a great ceremony that has been attracting quite a huge number of tourists, not just locally, but also from South Africa, from Lesotho, from Eswatini.
Yeah, when I was looking at some of the images and pictures that you shared with me, I saw there was a huge delegation from Isitwani, right?
Exactly. Yeah, so it's been attracting tourists from across the borders, and suffice to say that I had to identify one of our local artists, the Sakala brothers, with, now led by Moses Sakala and his dear wife, Angela Nyirenda, whom I've signed a partnership with as their brand promotion person, just to use the artistic, because they have been quite instrumental in promoting the Nchwala traditional ceremony with their famous song, the Shombe. So I'm trying to see how we can promote our cultural traditional ceremonies, Nchwala being one of them, using our artist, Moses Sakala, and his wife, Angela Nyirenda. Very soon, through collaboration efforts with people like yourselves, would like to bring them to various places in the US so that we can use traditional ceremony within Nchwala as a yardstick to promote our tourism sector. But Nchwala is just one of the traditional ceremonies that we have in the country. We have a lot more. We have the Kuomboka ceremony, and CNN has been on highlight to promote the Kuomboka ceremony. There is a ceremony in the northern part of the country, the Kusefia Bangwena, the Kuomboka ceremony, and the administration has shown quite some level of commitment to promote these traditional ceremonies, and the president in this regard has shown leadership to ensure that he attends most of the major traditional ceremony as a way of uniting the country. As we made reference to the Ngoni people that came from South Africa. We have other tribes that came from other parts of Africa as well, coming to Zambia to form one Zambia, one nation. Of course, we've got other tribes that are said to be indigenous to this country. In this case, tribes like the Tongas and others who we may not.
Oh, so the Tongas are the owners of the land we call Zambia.
Precisely, as members, we are coming from the DRC.
From the Congo up there, north. I don't want to go there. I saw a lot of this Simbuya exchange to say, what in Nchwala ceremony are you celebrating? You ran away from from what you call from Shaka Zulu, but that's a story for another day.
The most interesting thing is that as we document this history, there's something significant that it portrays or shows about Zambia is a peace haven, is a safe haven.
It is.
Most of the neighboring countries, and it will continue to be such. And would like to use peace to promote even the sector that we are talking about, tourism. So peace is something that would be known for. As I mentioned, that we've hosted a number of refugees. Of course, the Ngonis are not refugees; they are now inhabitants of
They'll stone you.
So we are using peace as
Uh,
as
uh,
as, as
okay, let's see how much peace has worked to our advantage. This is the way of we've already started. Okay, so Mr. Chileshe, our general view of tourism is wild animals, geographical, and features, ancient findings. Tell us what really encompasses what we term as tourism, as it specifically relates to Zambia.
First of all, before we even look at tourism as it relates to Zambia, we need to understand the concept of tourism.
Hmm.
When we were developing the domestic tourism strategy at the time when I was at the Ministry of Tourism,
Yes.
um, we had to define tourism as an act and staying in places outside one's usual environment, either for
Okay.
leisure, business, or other purposes. So basically, if we look at that definition, we get the concept of tourism that it's an act of traveling,
Mm.
either local or international. And as long as you move from your one's usual environment to go
Yes.
to another place for leisure, business, or any other purposes, that that defines the concept of tourism.
Tourism.
So
Okay.
when we talk of tourism, it's not something that should be a preserve for the elite. That is why there's emphasis now to promote domestic tourism so that the concept
Mm.
of tourism can be well embraced by everyone, that every citizen can be a tourist, either
Mm.
in your own country or depending on your budget level to spend on your leisure, business, or any other purpose that you wish to move from your usual environment, you also become a tourist. So with that kind of definition and sensitization, we'll be able
Hmm.
to stimulate interest in this sector. But who is a tourist? Somebody would like to find out
Mm.
in this case. A tourist is a person who travels to or stays in a place outside their usual environment, as earlier indicated, either for leisure, business, or other purposes for more than 24 hours.
Okay.
And of course, not more than one consecutive year. In that sense, if at all you're applying to come to the US as a tourist, you are not a tourist if you have overstayed more than a consecutive 1 year in that sense, and you'll find that in
Okay. Okay.
uh, visa requirements. If you go or you wish to come under tourist visa, it restricts you to a certain period. But in short, that's what who a tourist is, any person that moves from their usual environment to stay in another place for more than 24 hours,
Okay.
and of course, not more than one consecutive year.
All right.
That person becomes a tourist. So the concept of tourism has to do with traveling for leisure, business, or any other purpose. Now, tourism, as it relates to the Zambian sector in
Mm.
this case, I'd like to say that Zambia is highly and richly endowed with vast untapped natural and cultural heritage sites which are spread across our 10 provinces. You may wish to know that Zambia hosts more than 20 national parks. In this
Wow.
case, it has 36 game management areas. It has an excess of 80 magnificent waterfalls, including the Victoria Falls, which has been inscribed by UNESCO as one of the seven natural wonders of the world. So
Mm.
more than 30 colorful traditional ceremonies we host in Zambia. And of course, we've got other hot and cold springs dotted in different parts of the country. And overall, Zambia has a good climatic condition.
Mm.
Zambia's tourism resources can virtually compete at any tourism market segment. And I remember every time we could host tourism shows in the
Hmm.
US, either Chicago or Los Angeles or any other parts of the US where we could exhibit our tourism cycle. You could hear how colleagues out there miss Lusaka weather. So apart from the game management areas, apart from these waterfalls, apart from these heritage sites, Zambia has one of the best weather conditions, if not in the world. Every time when I'm out there, I feel so depressed. I want to see Lusaka, I want to see Kabwata. So that is what makes Zambia a preferred tourist destination, apart from its credentials of being a peaceful country. So those are some of the sites that we have that we showcase to promote our tourism sector.
Okay, so how is the overview? How are things looking right now in terms of the state of things, key attractions, and visitor statistics? How are the visitor statistics? Has the removal of the visa worked, changed, affected the figures?
Of course, the tourism sector was greatly affected during the period 2019, 2020, up to
Yeah, the COVID.
2023. During the COVID era, the sector was, in fact, it was one of the sectors that was greatly affected. But now we've seen a rebound in the industry from the time that Zambia demonstrated leadership in developing the safety protocols, uh,
Mm-hmm.
which helped or resuscitated the activity in the industry at the time that the sector was almost closed down. So from that post-COVID period, we are receiving a tremendous statistics in terms
Okay.
of revival of activity in the sector. And the president yesterday in his address to Parliament congratulated the able Minister of Tourism, Mr. Rodney Sikumba, for the leadership that he has demonstrated, that we are seeing significant numbers of tourist inflows, of course, coupled with other policy legislation that government has done in terms of waiving visa restrictions on certain countries and from certain major markets. So all these interventions, the development of the safety protocols, the launch of the domestic tourism strategy, as well as the development of the tourism investment guide, all these have stimulated interest in the sector, and we are seeing numbers which are increasing. And as you may have rightly indicated in the the opening of this program, if you look at the figures that tourism has contributed to the overall GDP of countries' economies, the ones you cited, Zambia as well. So there's great impact, and we have quite a lot more to market and promote at Zambia in terms of our heritage sites, with all these interventions that I've mentioned. Is pointing in a bright side of the sector, and it will continue to be a major contributor to the GDP of our
Zambia's economy.
other sectors. So
Do you have some?
the
Are we able to make some statistical comparison between 2020, let's say 2022, 2023, 2024? What has been the figures in terms of visitors? Have we seen a significant increase, change? How are things looking like?
Yeah, there's a remarkable increase that has been recorded between the period that you have cited, and has been attributed to the hard work of the Ministry of Tourism with its statutory bodies under it, under the leadership of the Tourism Minister. Yesterday, as indicated, the President did indicate that as of November 2024, the number of local tourists that visited our national heritage sites, national parks, and museums doubled from about 184, 945,000 to 326, 929.
Wow, this is domestic tourism, right?
how that from the time we launched the domestic tourism under the under the theme that is now um, um, uh, under the theme um, local tourism, yeah, motto. It has stimulated that kind of interest within Zambians themselves, visiting the Zambia beach, going to the Victoria Falls, and other tourist sites, but much more with the waiver of visa restrictions from certain countries. There's still been a huge number of tourists that have been recorded visiting our heritage sites as documented by our National Heritage Conservation Commission, which are managing most of our heritage sites in the country. So it is growing. The numbers are almost doubling, both for local as well as international.
Okay,
Yes.
that is good, because one thing I've observed is that whenever some of our colleagues from the diaspora come home, they're making it a point to visit one of the tourist centers or areas, or you see people taking pictures with wildlife and things like that. I think the diaspora's caught on as well. Wouldn't you agree to that?
Correct, correct. So that is what we would like to encourage you. Find that we have got quite a lot more of our celebrities, both locally and internationally, that are coming to these heritage sites. Now, our tourism should it's a challenge to industry players, because if you look at the northern circuit, because Zambia has been known mainly for the mighty Victoria Falls, which is one of the
Yes.
7 natural wonders of the world. But believe you me, if you go to the northern circuit, Luapula province in particular, you know, it hosts, apart from the Samfya beach, Bangolu. By the way, in the entry of the northern circuit, we have at Chitambo there, the monument site where Dr. David Livingstone died. We so much talk about him discovering Victoria Falls, but there isn't much of sensitization or awareness about him also opening up the Samfya beach. You may wish to wonder, to say that why did David Livingstone found himself in Chitambo, and why did he die there?
So he crisscrossed the country, right? From Livingstone to all the way to the other end of the country.
You see, the Samfya beach that we are talking about, you see, we need to put now record straight here. That apart from announcing the Victoria Falls, of course, the local inhabitants had discovered, because they lived where that heritage site is. But as a great tourist also, he moved from Livingstone and went to Samfya Beach. History indicates that he was 6 months in Bangolu. That is why he moved from Bangolu right down into Chitambo. So when we were developing these products, that is why we have an information center in Chitambo where David Livingstone died, to document that Zambia's tourism is not just about Victoria Falls.
Yeah, that's true.
These sites in the northern circuit, and the great explorer David Livingstone also went to those beaches. He moved down into Chitambo from Samfya, and that is why. So we need to create these packages so that we can show the route from the Bangolu wetlands, how he crossed to come into Chitambo, his final resting place. But you see, when we are marketing our northern circuit, we need to also bring this understanding as we create these packages. We have the Lumangwe Falls in Luapula, and when you look at Lumangwe Falls, it is a natural wonder. 5 kilometers from Lumangwe, you have the Kawelume waterfalls. Now, when we document this, I wish we had pictures to just show.
Yeah, we should have done pictures here. We should maybe. I think it's they are probably shown in the. Let's do this. Let me show something here and see what we can capture from this. Let's just watch this.
That's right.
Zambia is a republic with a unique identity, consecrated with exceptional cultural and natural heritage sites of high economic, social, educational, scientific and aesthetic value. The country is power-packed with over 4,000 heritage sites. 101 of these are national monuments and one World Heritage Site being the mighty Victoria Falls. A strong link between traditions of the Zambian people and heritage sites exists and found all over the country. Visiting the locations is an extraordinary experience that time machines you to different cultural and natural stages. Heritage resources are vital attractions for Zambians as well as foreign tourists. Appreciating these endowments is important for Zambians, therefore a must experience you need to undertake. Visits to cultural and natural resources, especially by Zambians in numbers, will help to boost local tourism and contribute to economic development of the country.
All right.
Oh, great. Perfect. Yeah,
Can you there's
some
some things in there that I'm saying to myself, you know, when you send me that video, I was saying to myself, I've never seen this before. What was that brick? Okay, I want you to comment on that video clip and highlight some things.
So the video that was done by our comrade Ali Kimgala there, which was done for the National Heritage Conservation Commission in promoting our heritage sites. You can see the documentation of other waterfalls that we have apart from the Victoria Falls. There was the Lumangwe waterfalls that was shown, as well as Kabwelume. Now, when you look at Lumangwe, for instance, they call it...
Where is Lumangwe?
Lumangwe is right in Kawambwa district.
Okay.
Lumangwe is in Kawambwa, of course. It shares the border with Porokoso district as well, but it's in Luapula, Kawambwa district. It is a spectacular. You then wonder why we talk about Victoria Falls, because Victoria Falls is seasonal. Lumangwe is ever full throughout the year.
Wow.
Throughout the year, it is just rolling like that. So we've got quite a lot to showcase in terms of our tourism sites, and the Northern Circuit being part of the corridor that is being promoted as we indicated when we are formulating the Zambia's tourism master plan, which seeks to explore other corridors that we have away from Victoria Falls. So I needed to make mention that platforms like this, as we promote our sector, there are quite a number of these sites that we need to document, and we'll talk about how government is moving towards promotion of this sector in documenting these sites through other interventions that government has recently done, which we'll soon talk about. But away from the Victoria Falls, there's also the issue of wildlife that Zambia also boasts to be home, for instance, of some of Africa's most national parks, game reserves, such as South Luangwa, Lower Zambezi, and Kafiwe National Park. These, they offer walking safaris, game drives, photographic safaris as well, showcasing the big five that we host in Africa. So apart from waterfalls, there are these wildlife and safari tourism, which we should seek as well to promote. Then we've got these geographical and natural wonders where we talked about the falls. And then there's the aspect of cultural and heritage tourism, which we did indicate earlier on, which has to do with promotion of our traditional ceremonies, the Nchwala, the Kuomboka ceremony, and other traditional ceremony taking place across the country. So we are using these platforms to market and create various tourism packages, so that overall we can stimulate activity in our economy and make a significant contribution to our GDP. There's also the aspect of sports tourism as well. We've got these of our nationals that are doing quite a tremendous work in the diaspora, the so-called of Barbara Banda Kuchalo. We have other athletes that are doing a tremendous job. So we can use these of our athletes as well to promote our sports tourism, because some
Yes.
would like to know where Zambia is. There are two tourist ambassadors in that sense, the Patson Dakas of this world, the Sakalas of this world, and the like. So that is one other aspect that we can as well promote. There's also the aspect of mining or industrial tourism, as you may know that we are an active player in terms of mining industry. Mining is something that we can also use, as we call it, mining tourism.
There are people who would like to who would like to see our mines, right?
Of
The mining
course, there's so
activity.
much of interest. Our Copper Belt region is pursuing this aggressively. There's so much of activity. It's not just mining. There are people out there that would like to come and see what life is like under the ground. You know, so that is another product that we can develop out of our mining activity. And there's also the aspect of business and conferences, which we call MICE. And Zambia is a growing hub for meetings, incentives.
Yeah, by the way, that is one of the major questions that I had. How have we fared in terms of attracting regional and even international business conference tourism to come to Zambia? Can we speak of some things that have happened in that area?
Of course, you can see how the Mulungushi International Conference Center facelift has been done. It's the KK International. That is a piece of architectural infrastructure that we need to be proud of, because it has opened up to Zambia hosting significant and high-level powered meetings. Recently, we had summits which have been held in this country under the same facility. So establishment of infrastructure for conferences like that, the way the Mulungushi International Conference Center has been done, it positions Zambia to be a hub of
and there is a hotel directly opposite across the street, right?
Exactly, and there's quite a lot of other infrastructure which has been built in Livingstone, but much more there is a core. That is why Zambia had to launch the investment guide alongside the domestic tourism strategy, so that we can excite investment, because quite a number of these heritage sites, like we mentioned, the case of the Lumangwe, Kawelume, then Tumbachushi. There's opportunity to build infrastructure, because that is what will help the sector to grow. So you find that there's this beautiful heritage sites, but there are not much
infrastructure in the area or around it. Yeah,
heritage sites. So it is an appeal that should go to colleagues in the diaspora.
Okay, investment opportunity.
You can enter into a strategic this kind of arrangement under the National Heritage Conservation Commission, who are managing these sites. There are pieces of land which are being leased, which are near these heritage sites, where you can build up a lodge or any other infrastructure that will support activities around these heritage sites. So, and most of these are located in our villages, in our remotest parts of our country. We should take a leaf from our Nigerian brothers who like to invest heavily in their villages.
In their villages, yeah.
Building mansions in the villages where they are coming from. And I would like us to probably get and be inspired that time has come for us, as you are out there in the diaspora, out there in the village. We can get a piece of land, put up a few rooms that will support tourism in that sense. So you find that we are not growing the sector because we do not have facilities that support activity where these natural heritage sites are. So it's the core to us Zambians. We should see the need of developing infrastructure in these.
Mr. Chileshe, let's zero in on that aspect, because it's very important for us not just to talk, but I know there's somebody watching who's going to watch this and they're like, people have been looking for opportunities to invest. So our cultural heritages are managed by what organizations you said again?
National Heritage Conservation Commission.
National Heritage
Conservation
Conservation Commission. So if I'm interested in, I come over and that big force that you mentioned, I noticed that there's nothing around there. Whom do I approach? I go to the National Conservation?
Exactly. There's a list of, and one of the things that we did, we started promoting the investment guide. I wish our embassies out there can have these documents in place so that you can see a number of investment opportunities which are available in the tourism sector. Of course, you may not be allowed to build a hotel just 2 meters away from this heritage site. There are certain rules that would govern as to how far from the heritage site you are allowed to put up infrastructure. But the National Heritage Conservation Commission has identified these sites and they have opened them up for investment opportunities. So it is some kind of information. Our tourism attaches in our missions abroad have a great deal of work to do to ensure that they make this information available. And that was the challenge that I found in most of the times when we're doing exhibitions. It is the lack of information about
that's exactly right. That's
yes.
It's just lack of information, because our thinking in the investment area is one-track mind. We have a one-track way of thinking because of a lack of information. So, and for me, I thought that we should dwell quite a bit on this, because there are organizations that the diaspora have organized themselves and they are looking for opportunities in which to invest. So people, you can hear that National Heritage Conservation Commission, reach out to them. Yeah. And
in this regard, I would like to thank Zambians in the diaspora. At the time when I was at the embassy in Washington, D.C., we really worked hard to ensure that the embassy has an open door policy, because we saw that there was no connection, the embassy with nationals out there. So we use tourism promotion as one way where we would have our stands being managed by Zambians, not just embassy officials. And we could see there that we can use our own people to promote our sector, not just even the embassy itself. And this is the kind of partnership that would like to promote the diaspora to get organized and get in touch with the relevant government bodies here to facilitate this kind of investment, because we cannot give it away to people of other nationals the same way President Trump is prioritizing America first. We should also
I know, right? We should also do Zambia first, because
do Zambia first as well. So
Zambians first, because one observation, Mr. Chileshe, one makes is most of the tourism, what do you call them? Tour companies and the walking safaris, they are owned by foreigners, if you may, or expatriates, if one may say that. We need to change that narrative. We need to change that narrative.
We need to change that narrative. Oftentimes, we fail to appreciate what we have ourselves. These things are right from our villages, where our chief headmen are, and they are more than willing to offer you a piece of land, almost free, apart from paying other things that may be needed in terms of you formalizing when you are given traditional land. So let's take ownership of our country. Zambia will not be developed by anybody else. Zambia
It's true.
will be developed by
Yeah.
ourselves, and us who've had the privilege of being out there. Let's use that network of contacts to bring tourists to our country and enter into strategic partnerships so that we can continue contributing to the country economy. And tourism is a game changer.
Yes, it is. It's a, I mean, you're talking about $3 billion. Tanzania did 3 billion, Kenya 2.7. Let's read some comments from the people watching. For Ms. Theo says, for sustainable tourism development, we need well-built roads, reliable transportation systems, and proper facilities, including clean and accessible bathrooms to ensure a comfortable experience for our tourists. I'm glad we are talking about this. So we'll be seeing Cambo from New York. By the way, Miss Theo lives in Dallas. Cambo in New York says, this is good news. And Miss Katie from Houston says, good morning. Florida, Alan says, good morning. And Zenith is sharing a childhood experience. She says, Kafwala Camp in Kafue National Park. Back then, every sixth grader at the trust school took this trip. Would love to visit Mansa. Yeah, so there we go. Good morning. And Brenda also says good morning from it. Mr. Chileshe, I want us to, before we talk about the new currency, let's circle back around to the what is known as the northern sector. I think it's important for us to highlight this. There's a lot that is going on there. I mean, I see pictures of what has happened in Zambia, and I'm saying to myself, this looks more powerful than Livingstone. Yeah, Zambia Beach has been transformed.
Yes.
I only made one mistake here. I need to admit to everybody. This is not like me. Pictures. We should have had pictures here, actually.
That's right.
We should have had a lot of pictures here, but that's okay.
Yeah.
So let's talk about the northern sector. How is it going there?
The northern circuit, when we talk of the northern circuit, we are talking of the region encompassing Luapula province, northern province itself, Muchinga, and part of central province. That's what constitutes as the northern circuit of our tourism. And the tourism master plan has devised these circuits as a way to promote our sector. Now, the most significant thing about the northern circuit, if you look at the southern African region, you will see that 40% of the water bodies, the whole of southern African region, 40% of water bodies are in Zambia.
Wow.
That is number one. And research further shows that 60% of this is in the northern circuit. Because of water bodies such as Bangoulu, Lake Tanganyika, and other rivers. So the northern circuit must be given a lot of priority in terms of tourism development. And we are looking at these packages so that when you come, you're not just visiting Victoria Falls. There will also be a package for Northern Circuit. And Northern Circuit will start from Central Province. There we at Chitambo, we have the Kundadina Falls, we have the Kasanka National Park, which is hosting the largest migration of the bats. It's another world phenomenon, all happening in Zambia. Zambia hosts the largest bird migration in the world. That record cannot be beaten, and we need to sensitize as we are promoting the northern circuit. So right central province there, you have the Kundalila Force, you have the Chitambo Mission where David Livingstone died, and then a few kilometers from Chitambo, then we go to Samfya Beach. That beach is marvelous. We need to promote and create a lot of excitement of what goes on there. So that in itself is another game changer for Northern Circuit. But up north, as you go to Luapula, you find the Lumangwe, you find the Tumbachushi, Kawelume, Shimba Force, and the like. So there's quite a lot of tourism sites, the Kasaba Bay up north there. So there's a great deal to promote the Northern Circuit and the Ministry of Tourism as specific coordinators who are promoting tourism in these regions, and Northern Circuit is one of them. So during the time the president was even inaugurating the current minister, Honorable Rodney Sikumba, he did emphasize that, ensure that
the Northern Circuit,
yes, is prioritized with the opening up of Kasaba Bay, and that side as well. It has now a great potential to open to the Great Lakes region, which also has other economic sectors to do with trade to that region, Congo being a huge market for us to exploit as well.
You keep mentioning this, it's Lumangwe, right?
Lumangwe, yes. Lumangwe, which is just next to Kawelume. Lumangwe is the Junior Victoria Force. That's what is called.
Okay, that's what I wanted to.
The beauty about Lumangwe is that
can somebody find me a picture of this and send it? Kambo, if you're still there, Pastor Kambo or Vanachanda. Send me WhatsApp this Lumangwe. I want us to put it up here, Lumangwe Force, so that we look at it. Okay. Now, we're going to change gears here. Let's talk about this, Chileshe.
That's right.
Zambia, the Bank of Zambia has introduced new currency, which will be put in circulation. I can't remember what the date is.
31st of this month.
31st of this month? Okay.
Yes.
So, weekend mama dress That's just a joke. I'm not interested in the political or the arguments going on about the new currency. I want us to look at the tourism aspect of this, which have mainly taken the representation of Zambia's cultural identity and heritage. This one I did my. Let's just do this. So what is the significance of this, Mr. Chileshe? This is what the government has decided to do.
First of all, would like to commend the Bank of Zambia for this policy direction. As the Bank of Zambia Governor, Dr. Danny Kaliada indicated that these notes should have been introduced at the time Zambia was celebrating its 60 years of independence, which is last year. But however, this month starting, today being the first, by month end, we will have a family of new banknotes introduced on the market. And despite the politics surrounding it, would like to welcome this new family of banknotes. Much more for me as a tourism development person. I would like to thank the Bank of Zambia for coming up with a theme that promotes the tourism sector. So the banknotes have come with heritage as the main theme because of the heritage sites, which at the back of every note, they have highly publicized away from the Victoria Falls. Now you see these banknotes having Lumangwe Force, and with Lumangwe Force being written. You see banknotes having Chishimba Force, Victoria Force. So for me as the tourism development expat. This is a game changer because you see, money is an exchange to anything that you want. It's the currency. So the fact that our heritage sites have been highly publicized on these notes also means that there will be an increased demand for our tourists to visit these heritage sites that have been indicated on the newly introduced note. So it's a commendable initiative to sell our tourism profile in this manner. And my appeal is that we should welcome these notes, despite the politics that other stakeholders may wish to give to the new notes, but we cannot politicize currency. We need to ensure that we welcome the currency and create an environment for Zambia to prosper by the introduction of these new notes, which will be significant in terms of promoting these various heritage sites. And the notes will not just be a currency in itself. I'm looking at it as a publicity material. Therefore, anybody else who wish to grab it and come and spend it right at the heritage sites that it publicizes. So kudos to the Bank of Zambia for this initiative. And I would like to appeal to all stakeholders, especially even our missions abroad. As they are marketing Zambia, they can flash these notes on those exhibition tables. As people
So
pick them,
somebody is asking to say, what impact will this what impact will this have on Zambians, and what is the anticipated impact on the Zambian citizens and probably the visitors?
The anticipated impact, one, it must create interest because you can't just hold this note that is highlighting these sites without you taking a bother to visit them. So we cannot just leave tourism to international arrivals only, but even our local people should create interest in visiting these sites, which the bank notes are displaying. So we expect an increase in terms of domestic tourism amongst ourselves as Zambians. You may wish to know that there are Zambians who have never been to these sites, which is a disservice. But there's much more that these sites offer to tourists or anybody else that visit them. Just standing before these natural heritage sites, be it Victoria Falls, be it and Tumbachushi, there's just something phenomenal. There's just healing that take place, and there are all sorts of myths. Of course, we cannot move certain myths surrounding these heritage sites, but by and large, they have so much benefit that they give to the overall well-being of you just appearing before Tumbachushi. It takes away the stress and any other thing which could be depressing. Getting to this, there's just the therapy that you get, the healing that you get out of appearing before these natural sites. So it goes beyond leisure. It goes beyond leisure. There's just something significant, just changes everything about you. That is why we promote walking safaris. And
that is good. What is the, from your perspective, what is the future outlook of Zambia's tourism sector? How is it looking?
Zambia will remain as a beacon of light to the nations of the world and the continent. First of all, we need to understand that fact that Zambia is a unique country. we have a lot of selling points to sell the
Yes.
country's profile. The current administration has 3 pillars on which it seeks to develop the country. It's looking at peace. It is looking at economic diplomacy in that sense, and also to develop our economy in that sense. So peace becomes a cardinal thing, and the fact that we've been a peaceful nation, the president today talked about that fact that we've had change of government, peaceful transition
Okay.
of power, and that is what attracts people to come to Zambia. Zambia is such a peaceful country, and we want to emphasize the aspect of peace. We want to emphasize the aspect of unity. And we also want to ensure that we market these sites that we have, the heritage sites. So
That's true. That's very true.
Zambia tourism. There's need for the Zambia Tourism Agency, which is a mandated promotional agency for our tourism sector under the Ministry of Tourism, to ensure that we capacitate our tourism attaches in different missions abroad. I'm particularly concerned with that aspect. Having said in foreign missions, I know what is happening, but there's great need that we bring this awareness, these documents that we have formulated from the ministry. They need to massively distribute it to a lot of Zambians out there who should be the first ambassadors, first of all, to market our tourism sector. Like I did mention, that I like the enthusiasm of Zambians in Chicago, in Washington, D.C., or DMV area to promote our tourism sector. It was quite a good thing that you relax, you see how patriotic and passionate we are about selling of what we host. So there's great interest out there. So we need to ensure that this information is made available. Also, our press people in missions, at times, there could be quite a lot happening from tourism attaché, but not being supported by the press office. That is why I make sure that whenever there are these diplomatic appointments, there's media and diplomacy, a course that is being given to all the diplomatic staff level to ensure that we continue to create visibility around our heritage sites, and also visibility about many of our engagement through our diplomatic economic diplomacy that is being implemented as the key driver to resuscitate and grow our economy. So the future of Zambia's tourism remains bright. These are natural, God-given heritage sites. They will never be taken away from us. We need to ensure that we promote sustainable tourism so that generations to come, they will not find that these resources are depleted. So
depleted, yeah.
All of us, we protect these heritage sites from any destruction that may be caused by any external forces that may be applied to them. So we need to ensure that we have infrastructure around these sites. That's the most important thing. Building of infrastructure can only happen.
Infrastructure is important. By the way, is there a new airport being built in northern? Where is that?
Yeah, Kasama at the refurbished airport have been done. Nakonde, they are planned to have an airport. That is what opens up our tourism when we have domestic flights.
Like Ms. Theo said, that we need those infrastructure, especially the airports, are very important. By the way, here I think this is it. We managed to find the.
That's Lumangwe. That's the Junior Victoria Falls.
All right.
It's beautiful. It is ever full throughout the year.
Okay.
All we need is to build infrastructure that will support activity around these sites. And 5 kilometers away from Lumbangwe, you have you have the Kawelume. It's another majestic waterfalls. It has 5 tracks coming down. Such a beautiful scenery to get there. So these are things that we need to promote. Just camping near these
Around.
sites changes
Yeah,
you
yeah. It does.
and your family.
It does, yeah. Thank you, Ms. Theo. That's compliments of Ms. Theo. She's always jumpstart. Final question, Mr. Chileshe. What is our tourism presence in terms of digital marketing? And
that's where we need to leverage on advancement of technology. As earlier indicated, we have the Zambia Tourism Agency, which is mandated to promote our tourism agency. They've been doing quite a commendable job. But you see, with technology advancement, we cannot just leave the marketing of these sites to these agencies. It's incumbent upon every Zambian, be it in Zambia or wherever you are. Technology has made things easy. We can market these sites that we have much more. We need to engage into strategic partnership with yourselves and us who are here back home. We can coordinate that side. You have the contacts here. We can develop this product so that whenever you plan for for holiday, you are coming for a well-packaged tour of our countrysides, and that is what we are looking for. And using my consultancy firm, I've signed a brand promotion product, as earlier indicated, with Moses Sakala and Angela Nyirenda.
Okay.
Under the same, there are also other athletes that I'd like to promote in the bodybuilding profession. We have a Mr. Zambia who was recently crowned. The previous ones would like to arrange international tournaments for them as part of sports tourism. So there are so many products, tourism products that we would like to create overall to just create visibility around our tourism sector and various heritage sites that that we have. So thank you so much for such a great platform, and looking forward again to highlight specific heritage sites that we may identify and look at around investment opportunity, probably that could excite the audience as well, so that they can physically see areas that have been listed and open for investment. So that into saving you have you can partner with locals.
We can't go away without addressing this question Uncle Gregory is asking from the UK. He says, when is a motion to revert to the local vernacular title, the Victoria Force, going to be moved in Parliament by the Minister of Tourism, Mosotunya? He says all the other foes have local names. Any idea when that is going to be done?
Well, I may not answer for the Ministry of Tourism as to when the Honorable Minister will consider moving such a motion. But sure, platforms like this, they provide feedback in terms of policy formulation. I'm not so sure as to whether that motion is under any active consideration, but it's something that I will wish to take up from here if at all there's anything to move in that line to change from Victoria Falls to Mosotunya.
To Mosotunya. Okay. I thought that was the official name. Isn't it? That's supposed to be the official name. But anyway, I guess it is not. We'll see what happens. Ms. T also says we also have Sioma. How do you say that?
Falls, yes.
Sioma Falls.
Right.
Where is that? In Western Province. Okay. Sioma, so yes, we have all these forces around us. Nasilele, your question will be addressed by my political conversation next week. And she says, If Zambia has the highest number of water bodies in the Southern African region, why does our country face significant challenges with electricity production? We'll address that next week. I'm having a political conversation next weekend. So you want to say something?
It's an interesting question. It's
Yeah.
an interesting question. I like it. You see, we've been our power is mainly hydro dependent.
Mm-hmm.
But you see, the drought has given us lessons that we can no longer depend on hydro because of
Yes.
issues of climate change. But it's an issue of investment. It takes quite some time to build these hydropower stations, and I totally agree. If you go to Chishimba Falls, uh, going to even Lumangwe itself, but Lumangwe, there was an hydro power plant which I saw under construction. I don't know how far that project has gone. But you see, it is this kind of awareness that we need to create even to other stakeholders that may wish to further invest into hydro generation. Yes, the Northern Circuit can provide that solution in terms of hydro power generation electricity. So it's up for investment because the resource is available.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay. I'm glad you responded to it. We appreciate that.
Yeah, so
Ladies and
really
gentlemen,
it's an
yeah.
appeal to engineers because really I agree with that thought. We
Mm,
have plenty of water. If
yeah,
we
we
had
do.
set up our hydro power stations in these regions, we cannot be saying Kariba water levels are low. There are other
Mm,
areas, but it's the kind of investment probably that is needed to put up an hydropower in these places. So it's up to the Zambia Development Agency
mm-hmm.
to ensure that they attract investment of hydro. But from what I'm seeing, because of issues of climate change, because in
Yes.
future these heritage sites may also be affected. What will happen to the huge investment that will have been put up
Yeah,
in
it's
terms
true.
of dependence of hydro generation of power? So I would favor the option of seeking for other alternative sources of energy
Source
because
of
of
energy. Yeah, that's what we need to do.
climate change, which eventually may also affect these same regions which have abundant water bodies.
Mm. Well, that was our show for today. We were speaking with Mr. Cosmas Chileshe. He's the communications and tourism expert, and he was joining us from the great city of Lusaka. But Chileshe, thank you. And everybody appreciates the information. At least we know now that we have an opportunity to invest in the tourism sector.
Thank you so much. And I forgot my wife, Maureen Kandu, asked me to send greetings to say, greet Mr. Kamafoni. So
Oh, thank
greetings from
you,
Zambia. Thank
Maureen.
you.
Yeah, she's
Yeah.
written a second book, right?
Yet to be published. Yet to
Yet to
be
be.
published. But I think maybe before you talk about her second book, there's a lot more that maybe she may wish to talk about from tried and tested. Um,
Oh, yeah, yeah, we
she
can do that.
mentioned to me that she once appeared on this great platform, and there was a lot of controversy on issues that she raised with
She
regards
raised.
to our colleagues in the diaspora.
Well, I mean,
But suffice to say that she's
the
saying good
institution she
heart.
worked for and what she wrote in the book, interesting stuff. We can get, I'm glad you mentioned that. Please send my regards to her, and we'll be looking forward to
Yes,
having her here.
yes. I hope she'll be free to talk because maybe the organization she's currently
Oh, there
working
are
with.
those become
If
issues.
it's
That
related to her work, she'll definitely find a Zambian angle to talk about her great achievement back home.
all right, that's good. Thank you, Bachelor. Have a good weekend.
Thanks a lot.
Yeah,
Thanks a
we
lot.
should
Thank
stay
you.
in touch, and we need to make some investments in this what you call it, tourism. It's big. It's in tourism is big.
Exactly. And it should just excite everyone, and we should all be part of what is happening. These are valuable assets that God gave to the nation of Zambia.
That's true. That's true. Thank you, sir. All right, everybody, that was our show for today. Next week, next 2 weekends, we are going political. I'm having political guests, and let's talk about what's going on in Zambia. We talk about everything and anything here. And you all know that what we are doing for this year is highlighting those organizations that are diaspora run, which are doing projects and work in Zambia. And I just wanted you to look at this before we call it a day for today.
Zambia Blog Talk Radio.